Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I want to talk about Darmanitan, Galarian Darmanitan VMAX, if we want to go all the way pedantic. You see, ladies and gentlemen, somebody has gone and won a little tournament with this over in Japan, and it's a very cool Pokemon, and it's a very cool deck, and it's one that I absolutely wanted to show you. Yes, obviously it's weak to metal. I know it's weak to metal, you know it's weak to metal, and if you didn't, I've just told you. We all know that Zacian is full-on, proper job, flat-out amazing. Nobody is pretending that the weakness to Zacian is good. But then again, water Pokemon, we've got other options. We've always got stuff like Lapras, which is weak to lightning, for argument's sake. So, I'm not saying that putting Lapras in your deck will magically give you an auto win against Zacian. I am telling you that there are plenty of non-metal weak water Pokemon out there, because most of them are weak to lightning, that you can use to take down Zacian if you so wish, or maybe even tech in something fire, or I don't know. There's plenty of options. So now that we've addressed that, let's get to the deck proper. Now, Galarian Darmanitan V, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I am not hideously impressed. We've got the first attack here for 2 energy, does 50 damage and paralysis on a coin flip. And the best thing about this attack really is that you are potentially buying yourself a little bit of time, making it so that you've got an extra turn or two to set up. But it's not a single energy attack, so it's not amazing. Free energy, 190 and 30 to itself. The only reason to use this attack pretty much ever is either you don't have the 4th energy or you don't have the VMAX, because the VMAX is just better. Now, if we look at the VMAX, what we've got here is 4 energy, 200 damage, plus 30 to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So this will add up to an awful lot of damage very, very quickly. And this is kind of awesome. It's pretty gosh darned important. And that is largely what we're doing with this. That is largely where we're going. We are trying to make sure that we are just spreading a whole bunch of damage and knocking out basically everything. The fact that we're doing so much damage to the active really, really helps. And then you're spreading a whole bunch of damage around as well. And this just leads to kind of hilarity for you, not for your opponent. Yes, I know it's weak to Zacian. We've kind of already talked about that. And make no mistake about it, the deck is very much built as a Galarian Darmanitan deck, and it is built to use this attack pretty much exclusively. But there are some other Pokemon we've got. Now, it probably shouldn't surprise you to learn that we're playing a fairly fat line of Frostmoth here. Frostmoth being that lovely Stage 1 water Pokemon that allows you to accelerate as much water energy as you like from your hand to your benched water Pokemon. Obviously here, we're using this to try and make sure that we've got all of the energy on Galarian Darmanitan. It's not a cheap Pokemon. You're talking 4 energy. It's quite expensive. Frostmoth is the way we get there. Now, we do actually have one legitimate backup attacker here, and that is Alolan Sandslash GX. I like Alolan Sandslash GX. It's one of these ones that I always thought was going to end up seeing a lot more play and a lot more love than it actually ended up seeing. What we've got here is for free energy, a GX attack, but remember there's no other GX attack you're really planning to use here. 100 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. Nice. Because of course, if you're spreading damage with Galarian Darmanitan VMAX, all of your opponent's Pokemon will have damage counters on already. Now, I know we've seen builds of this in the past, playing Misty and Lorelei. The theory being, of course, that Misty and Lorelei lets you reuse your GX attack. Also searches out water energy, which is good for Frostmoth decks. We're not actually playing Misty and Lorelei in this deck, and the reason is extremely simple. You're using this attack once. It's a one-time deal. You want to use this attack just once because you spread a few times with Galarian Darmanitan and then you wipe the board entirely. Yep, 6 prizes 1 turn. This deck can do that. Now, there is one card in this deck that is rotating. This is a Japanese deck, and unfortunately there is one important card here that is rotating, and that's a little bit sad. We're losing Volcanion Prism Star. And Volcanion Prism Star is awesome. It's got a phenomenal ability that lets you discard a water energy from your hand and make sure opponents switch their active. But also for free water energy, you do 100 to the active and 20 to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It's a single energy attacker that can start spreading. It's not as good as Galarian Darmanitan, 120 to the bench rather than 230 to the bench. But it's a great single prize option. And when you're accelerating lots of energy anyway, it really doesn't matter in terms of having to put the energy on there. You're going to be okay, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be just fine. Now, in terms of other Pokemon, we are losing Ditto Prism Star. That is in here. That can evolve into any Stage 1. I know you're playing a Stage 1 Frostmoth, but it's really not the end of the world here. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Yes, it can also evolve into Alolan Sandslash, but it's still not the biggest loss ever. The rest of the Pokemon really are just consistency Pokemon. One Dedenne lets you discard your hand and draw 6 cards. And then one Crobat V lets you draw until you've got 6 cards in your hand. One of each of those, they are your consistency cards. We've then got 3 copies of Jirachi with that awesome ability. Lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, pick a trainer card, put it into your hand, and Jirachi goes to sleep. We've got plenty of switching cards. We will be fine. Now, in terms of our energy here, we are mostly playing water energy, as you might expect. But we're also playing one of those new special water energy cards. Yeah, that's right. One of those ones. We did talk about these t'other day. We did do a video on this one. I will try and remember to pop a link to it in the description. It's Wash Water Energy, and it prevents all effects of attacks other than damage, which is very cool. Energy removal, automatic KOs, special conditions, anything along those lines will be taken away here. And that's kind of cool. Now, in terms of trainer cards, we've got the usual Pokemon search here. We've got 4 Quick Ball to search out your Pokemon, your basics. And then we've got 4 copies of Great Ball to go and get, well, any Pokemon that's in the top 7 cards of your deck. So that's kind of cool. We are playing 4 copies of Switch because of the whole Jirachi thing. You might also be wanting to switch to get the right Pokemon in the active because we got a couple of attackers. But mostly here, this is going to be to get Jirachi in and out and take advantage of their ability. We do play a copy of Capacious Bucket here. That is the one that lets you, well, just search for 2 water energy in your deck. It's kind of awesome, if I'm honest with you. It's a ridiculous kind of card. And it's a pretty good advantage that water Pokemon have got. Speaking of pretty good advantages that water Pokemon have got, we actually see a copy of Nessa here. It's that really fun new supporter card that lets you pick 4 water Pokemon and 4 water energy and put them into your hand. Now, this is particularly good because most of these good recovery cards will actually put them into your deck and then you got to draw them again. This puts them straight into your hand, which is a huge advantage. And it's just going to help you out, if I'm honest with you. It's just going to be an absolutely fantastic, phenomenal option. We are happy. So, you know, go power water Pokemon. In terms of our main supporters here, we got 4 Professor Sycamore, discard your hand, or Professor's Research, as it is nowadays. Discard your hand, draw 7. And we got 3 copies of Marnie. Both players shuffle their hands, put them on the bottom of the deck. You get 5 cards, your opponent gets 4. And then 3 copies of Boss's Orders to gust one of your opponent's Pokemon active. One thing that should really be borne in mind about this deck specifically, however, if you can trap a high retreat Pokemon in the active for a turn or 2, you can go ahead and spread extra damage. That would be awesome. Or just take out a Crobat for 2 prizes while spreading damage. Either of those things will work rather nicely. Now, in terms of stadiums here, we actually have a single solitary stadium here. We've got Training Court. And this is the one that just lets you, once during your turn, grab a basic energy and put it into your hand. Now, it lets either player do it, but remember, you're playing Frostmoth, so you're going to need basic energy more than your opponent, because you're going to want to be attaching multiple during your turn. So yeah, Training Court becomes pretty gosh darn good. And then the last card we need to shout out here is Longview Scope. Longview Scope is an awesome card, and it is really uniquely awesome to this deck, because it is a new Pokemon tool card that says that all of your attacks that do damage to bench Pokemon do 30 more to benched Pokemon V and GXs. So now Galarian Darmanitan is not doing 30 to your opponent's EXs and GXs on the bench, it's doing 60. And your Alolan Sandslash isn't doing 100 to your opponent's GX and Vs on the bench, it's doing 130. This makes a huge difference and gets your KOs way faster than you would expect. And honestly, the combination of Galarian Darmanitan, Longview Scope and Alolan Sandslash, there's gotta be something to enjoy here. Yes, I know it's weak to Zacian, although the funny thing is, when I post this video, I'm still going to get comments from people going, it's weak to Zacian, despite the fact we've mentioned that multiple times in the video. Hey ho, you can't win them all, ladies and gentlemen. But the point I'm making is, if you really want to beat Zacian, tech in a Pokemon that can beat Zacian. You can find some space in here. Either way, I think this is a cool deck. Shout out to Talonite X over on Twitter for making me aware of it. This is one that I am a huge fan of, and I thought it would be, frankly, rather rude if I didn't share it with you lovely ladies and gentlemen. So I did. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to know what you think about this particular deck, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.